you will acknowledge us about this whole situation, how you see it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wani. I'm very grateful for your invitation once again. My name is Dr. Iqtidar Cheema. I'm on the United Nations Global Steering Committee for Prevention of Genocide and Atrocity Crimes for the last 6 years, as well as I've previously been associated with the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom as their consultant, and I did a special report for United States Commission on International Religious Freedom, which is constitutional and legal challenges faced by the minorities in India. I will send a link to the participants, so if they so wish, they can look at the report, which was published under the Trump administration. So you have elaborated, Mr. Wani, very well about the prisoners and their situation. What I would like to do today, because obviously I'm being on the UN Global Steering Committee, I would like the participants today to know that what are the norms, what are the convents on political prisoners when it comes to United Nations and its declarations. When we talk about the political prisoners, Article 9 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights clearly says, no one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. That is Article 9 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. By the way, India is a signatory to that. Furthermore, on Article 10 of the same Declaration on Human Rights, it is very clear that everyone is entitled in full equality to a fair and public hearing by an independent and impartial tribunal in the determination of his/her rights and obligations and any criminal charge against him. So both these articles clearly mention that, first of all, not only the political prisoner, anybody who has to be arrested, they shouldn't be subject to arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. And if they are arrested, they are entitled for a fair public hearing and independent and impartial tribunal. Now, when we apply both of Section 9 and Section 10 of the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, it means that every citizen should be assumed as innocent until offense is established against them, and they must be given full opportunity of being heard. The second thing, obviously, which we derive from these two very important articles is that no one should be held guilty of any penal offense on account of any act or omission which did not constitute a penal offense under national or international law at the time when it is committed. So why I'm stressing this, that they should not be taken in for a penal offense, because India has criminalized the peaceful protest. India has criminalized the right and freedom of expression. India has criminalized even people who are posting on social media. And obviously, India has shut down all the access to internet, which is worst example in the modern days, so-called procedural democracy. Now, when we look at these two acts, we can clearly see that India has extensively been using terrorist and disruptive activities Act TADA and Public Safety Acts. These are two very draconian laws which India has consistently used in Jammu and Kashmir. And when it comes to TADA, TADA has been used in various other states of India. I remember through my research that the TADA was extensively used after Sikh genocide as well, from 1986 to 1996. After Sikh genocide of 1984, TADA was extensively used to persecute people and mass shooting, mass killing, and those who were arrested in that dark period, only 1% of those Sikhs were later persecuted, which clearly shows that how these draconian laws have been applied not only on Kashmiris, but some other communities in India. Now, why these Public Safety Act and this TADA is so controversial? Under this, the security forces has wide powers to arrest or detain anyone for up to 1 year without presenting the accused before the court of law, and can detain without any charge sheet. So you can go to anyone's house, you can raid a house, get a man, woman, child, anybody. You don't have to give them a reason why you are arresting them. You simply detain them, and you don't have to present them to a court of justice. Now, is that what we call democracy where there is rule of law? Definitely not. It is look like something from medieval ages where people are held to or detained without any reason. And what sort of people are being arrested under this Public Safety Act? I would like to for the panelists to note any common people. Uh, they don't have to be involved in any militancy. They don't have to have any arms or ammunition. Anyone could be detained, but just accusing them that they are endangering the public safety. Whether they are protesting peacefully, whether they are giving any pamphlets, whether they are talking about detention of others, they can be taken into the custody of police under this Public Safety Act. Now, one of the examples, because there are so many case studies for us to look at, but one of the very example is Musarrat Alam Bhatt, whom most of you would know. He's a very, very progressive, well-learned man, and obviously he's alumnus of very prestigious missionary Tyndall Biscoe School. Now, he has been arrested so many times. Over the last 25 years, he has been held under a Public Safety Act so many times and without giving any reasons. Now, he is one of the classic example of the Kashmiri leadership that he has never been given any fair trial. He has never been given any reason why he's being arrested. And he is not the only one. There are so many other examples where people simply by voicing against the Indian atrocities, by simply writing anything in the newsletters, by just distributing any pamphlets, have been held. Someone who was in the jail, who was someone a threat to the public safety. Now, when you look at this PSA, it violates Article 9 and 14 of International Convention on Civil and Political Rights. And likewise, not only in the international context, it violates the UN conventions, it also violates the Indian Constitution, like Article 14 of the Indian Constitution, which clearly states the state shall not deny to any person equality before the law or the equal protection of the law within the territory of India. Now, when you are violating your own constitution, and I think it is very clear to the people who are keeping a close eye on India that since the BJP government has assumed power in India, it has become an ultra-nationalist state, which is destroying the spirit of democracy as well as it's violating its own constitution. Now, when it comes to the fair trial, obviously, in 1 year, when people have no legal representation, no access to justice, they are not even being presented to the court. So there is no fair trial. They don't even have a right to trial. Forget about fair trial. They are not even being tried and being detained, tortured, and being murdered in the security forces custody. Now, obviously, looking at this, there is another problem we have is once court release somebody, finally, if you were lucky enough that after all that torturous period, you are still alive and court gave an order for release, the prisoners are not released sometime. And if they are released, immediately another first information report, which is called FIR, launched against them in Indian held Kashmir, where they are rearrested again. And Musarrat Alam Bhatt is an example. For the last 25 years, every time he will get a bail or he would be in a position to get out of the jail, new FIR would be launched and he would be rearrested. And not only him, we have people like Muhammad Yasin Malik, Shabir Ahmad Shah, Muhammad Ashraf Sehrai, Asiya Indarabi, Naeem Khan, Altaf Shah, Nahida Nasreen, Fahmida Sufi, Nasima Bano. And this list goes on and on and on. It's a long list, but I have just mentioned few of the names since we have a very short time. So this is nothing new. And obviously, other communities are quite familiar with this pattern. There are so many Sikh political prisoners who are still being detained, although they have completed their period of sentence, but they are not being released. And one of them is Jagtar Singh Havara, who has completed his sentence but not being released by the Indian authorities. We must all note, as you are aware, that United States Commission on International Religious Freedom last year put India in list of CPC, country of particular concern, which means more or less to be blacklisted for religious freedom, as well as United Nations Human Rights Council, and obviously the Chief of Office of High Commissioner on Human Rights have issued various statements of what's happening in Kashmir. And previously, Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission, for whom I previously testified in Washington about its special hearing on Kashmir, everyone has voiced, but it seems that the government of India is completely ignoring all these international voices. We should all strengthen these voices and keep on voicing these, because these atrocity crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide should not get unnoticed. Thank you all.